surprised to see so many people. Good morning, Los Angeles.
Merci. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I really enjoyed it because I haven't seen anything like it, and it was so different to see like how race was brought into the movie with comedy, and like there were so many insightful aspects about like family and brotherhood and just like love, I guess.
It tackled like kind of a difficult or not as talked about subject really well and eloquently, and I really enjoyed it, and I think the message of it was timely like for our world, so I liked it.
It was really funny and I laughed a lot, but it was also like very emotional and I like cried, and I think ultimately in film like the purpose of it is to evoke emotions, and I think I felt a lot of things, like I cried, I laughed.
It's a pretty great movie. I enjoyed it a lot. It was like really hilarious at first, but then I mean the more hilarious it got, the more like kind of touching it got in the end. So I was literally like crying all over. Yeah, it was amazing.
The movie's really good. It's extremely like inspirational, and seeing like the brotherhood and everything, it was really like a feel-good movie to watch.
I thought it was really beautifully like put together, and I did really like the way that it addressed many difficult topics beyond like just the twins, but teen pregnancy and all of that.
The movie was really good. I really enjoyed, the change of their, brother relationship throughout the movie, when they first found out they were brothers, towards the end when they started to go on the journey and find out who their mother was, and learn more about the past life and what really happened to them. I really enjoyed seeing how that all played out, and how one, they reacted emotionally, and how they bonded together as brothers, as brothers would.
Last year, I was lucky enough to be one of the student panelists for the Kalkoa Festival, so I got to watch about 7 films last year. But that was my first time last year, and I really enjoyed it.
I've seen a couple of French movies before, but this one's like, I enjoyed this one like the most, kind of, because I watched a French TV series called Lupin, and that was like basically like, like plot-ish, like just enjoy like the whole plot, going over all the adventures, but this one's like really conveys a message.
This is like one of the first like international films that I've ever watched. I really like Vincent Cassel. He's a French actor and I really admire his work, but I haven't seen many French movies, so I'm excited to watch more now.
We've seen other French movies in class. This is my first time seeing a French movie in a theater, which was amazing. It was really good. I had a great experience. I would definitely see more French movies. I'd love to come out and see more French movies as well.
In class, we watched like short films, but nothing like so in-depth like this.
I never watched a French comedy before, so I think that was a really fun experience. And I think also like watching a comedy in a different language from like the language you speak, I think is very interesting, and to kind of see how it translates, and I guess you can learn a lot more about like French culture by watching it.
I didn't come in with a lot of, previous ideas of what French cinema was.
I'd say they're almost a little bit more emotional. Definitely this movie had like the comedy, but towards the end, after they left their mother's house, like you could definitely see the emotions, and I feel like it's a little bit more dry in American cinema.
I think it was a lot more unfiltered in a sense, like in a really good way. Like it was like, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and it's funny at the end of the day. I feel like sometimes like with American comedy, it's a lot more filtered about what can be said, what is allowed to be said, and what's not. And I feel like with this comedy, it was like, we'll say what we have to say if we think it's funny.
I think American comedies don't tend to delve into, I guess, touchy subject matter as much, but I think this one did so eloquently.
It makes you understand the movie more, and I think appreciate it a lot more, because you learn more about their process and like behind the scenes, and I think it just makes you reflect more on like the film and how it was made.
It was cool seeing like the behind the scenes aspect and what the actors thought and like the director's point of view and thought process, like making the film and filming the scenes.
I really liked being able to hear their perspective on the movie because I think art sometimes can be very subjective and everyone forms their own opinion based off of their own life experience. So it was really cool kind of hearing the people who initially worked on the film to understand like what they wanted people to get out of it, and I really liked hearing like especially like the actor's perspective. I think it was really insightful.
I really enjoyed that part because we can actually like talk to them and hear what they think instead of just we watching the film and just thinking about like what we think. But yeah, it's a great way to like get a better picture of like in terms of the production of the movie and the maybe like stories and messages behind the making of the movie. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Being able to see what the actors and the directors intended the movie to be versus your interpretation of it is really like a valuable way to comprehend, you know, a different culture's film.
Oh, it made it so much more personal because you get to see them. They're not just figures on a screen. You actually get to see them. You get to hear their voice. You get to see their personality. It makes it much more personal. You get to connect with them on a much more like real level because they're real people.
It made the experience like a lot better, like seeing the insight, and also like him, he's a very funny actor. He's just as funny in person and he's really nice.